Good old Schneider National, a mega giant, the orange company. With 17,000 employees, Schneider is one of the largest carriers in the country. And me being on YouTube all day, every day, searching the internet until I'm blue in the face, I've come across a lot of negative videos about people's experience with Schneider.
Whether you're going for bulk, team, or if you're going to be stupid enough to be solo with this company that I'm talking about here, please get your experience, get the out, go work local.
Now, personally, I've been with the company for about 5 months, and I'm here to tell you what you can expect if you decide to go to orientation at the Orange Company. After all, I'm all for know before you go. Hello everyone, it's Seiji here, and I'm back with another banger today. Now, this video is made in response to a comment I received on one of my previous videos. Y'all go check this video out. But basically, the person wants to know what goes on detail by detail, day by day at Schneider training. Well, that's what I'm here for. Now, I can only speak for my experience as a bulk driver and bulk orientation. I don't really know much about van truckload, but I'm sure a lot of this advice applies. Orientation is 3 weeks if you're experienced, or 5 weeks if you're inexperienced. Now, for the most part, we're going to do the same things. The only difference that makes the training longer is that, if you're inexperienced, you spend 4 days with your TE, and then you spend 10 days with your TE if you're inexperienced. That's really the biggest difference between the 3-week and the 5-week training. But anyways, on day one, you have, your drug test, you have a physical if it applies to you, and you also, do a bunch of paperwork, boring paperwork. So at Schneider, of course, they do urine and hair follicle tests. Make sure you're clean, and if I were you, I'd pay for my test before I go to any trucking company. I'd pay for a private test, because remember, if you fail a urine test, you're a SAP driver. Make sure y'all check out that video. If you fail a hair follicle test, that goes in your DAC report. Make sure y'all check out that video. After you do the paperwork and everything, you also undergo a physical. So for flatbed, bulk drivers, if you do touch freight for whatever reason, you do a physical test that consists of, pulling, pushing, bending, lifting. They also check your blood pressure to make sure you're physically capable of doing the job. Obviously, if you fail the test, you don't qualify for the job, and they may transfer you to a different division, or they may just let you go altogether and you may have to reapply again. I don't know how it goes if you don't qualify. So that's day one. It's just a bunch of paperwork. You do a bunch of FNCSA authorizations. You do day one modules. You do a bunch of safety videos. And yeah, that's pretty much day one. Also, another thing I forgot to mention, make sure you take those quizzes seriously that they're giving you, because if you fail any of those quizzes, you are not qualified to work for Schneider. They will dismiss you. They will send you home. And one of those quizzes actually includes a reading test, so you will definitely take a reading test your first week there. So at some point, they want to make sure that you can read and write to do this job. It's important. So please know how to read and write. Now, day two. Day two is where you get to climb the trailer and walk end to end. Now, you cannot be afraid of heights to do this type of work. Now, not only do you have to climb it, you have to walk from each end. There's a catwalk. You walk from each end. You touch the washout caps. They're going to make sure you touch the walkout caps. You're going to bend down, touch it, stand back up, turn around, and do it again for the other side. Schneider wants to know, can you do this task safely? And if you can't, you can't do the job, sadly, because you're going to have to climb that trailer multiple times a day during pre-trips, post-trips. When you're unloading trailers, you're just going to have to, be comfortable with being on top of that trailer. Now, after all that classroom training, then you do, a road test. If you're experienced, you do a road test. The road test consists of pre-tripping like you would during a CDL test. It's going to consist of coupling to the trailer. You're actually going to go out on a route, come back. You're going to have to do a 45-degree back once you return from the road trip part of the test. Then after that, you do your post-trip, and then you uncouple from the trailer, and that's your road test. Now, after the road test, that's when you do the hands-on training. You learn how to do an air unload, and you learn how to do a pump unload. That's 2 days. I wish it was longer than that. I really do. But after you do, the hands-on training, you do a bunch of other classroom work, you watch a bunch of safety videos until they clear you to go with your TE or your training engineer. That's what we call it here at Schneider. Depending on your experience, your time with the training engineer may be 4 days or 10 days. Now, I personally feel like I got the short end of the stick. There were 4 other people in my class, and they all got one-on-one time with their training engineer. I had to train with somebody. I had to split driving time with somebody else. Now, I remember watching a video by B2 Speaks. Y'all go check out his channel. He makes great videos, by the way. He said that Schneider is not a good company to train for because they do this very thing. They put 2 trainees on a truck with 1 trainer.
3 people in a truck, 2 of them with no experience that this 1 trainer is expected to train. Ever drive for a company that wants to train you with 3 people in a truck? Not only is that idiotic, but that's unsafe. Never should a driver, a trainer, be tasked with training 2 students at one time over the road.
Now, I didn't think that'd be the experience with me, and they tell you during training, they try to avoid that. But literally, the day that I was supposed to be with my training engineer, my instructor told me, "Oh, I'm sorry, this is last minute, but you're actually going to be training with somebody else with your trainer." So I was like, of course I am. It always happens to me. You know what I'm saying? It always happens to me. But yeah, that's what it was. I split training time with my with somebody else in the truck, and it does suck. But at the same time, when you're in orientation, when you're in training, you're only paid $10-12 an hour depending on your experience level. Now, mind you, we were in Pittsburgh, and I remember driving home to the hotel, and I was seeing advertisements at Popeyes. They were hiring employees for $14 an hour. You can start working at Popeyes at $14 an hour while we are putting our lives on hold. Because remind you, we have to be there for 3 to 5 weeks. There is no home time during training. We have to be there. And we're only making $10-12 an hour. No overtime, because Schneider doesn't believe in overtime. It's just straight pay. Now, and it doesn't even get that much better once you're, finished with training. Because, you see this chemical suit right here? You see me in this chemical suit? I make $15 an hour to unload a trailer with hazardous chemicals, mind you. Yes, I do. I make $15 an hour while I'm on duty to unload chemicals. But moving on, once you're finished training with your training engineer, then you'll have what's called skills qualifications testing. And that's when they just, wrap everything up and put a nice bow on top. So basically everything you did over the course of 3 to 5 weeks is condensed down to 1 week to make sure that you are capable of doing the job. So once you pass SQTs, then you graduate from training and you get assigned a truck and you'll be off your merry way. Now, let's talk about the good about the training. Now, like I said, Schneider is very big on safety. They make sure day one you have the safety vest, you have the, slip resistant steel toed shoes. Bulk drivers, we are required to wear long sleeve shirts and pants in all weather conditions, all times of the year. Doesn't matter if it's hot outside, doesn't matter if it's cold outside. You are required to wear long sleeve shirts and long pants as a bulk driver, and also as a flatbed driver. Another good thing about Schneider's tanker training is that a lot of higher level tanker companies, they respect the way Schneider does things when it comes to unloading trailers. Their procedures, they're very concise, they're very, meticulous. So that is a caveat for working for Schneider's tanker division, and they give just about anybody a chance. You don't have to have any experience to come work for Schneider in their tanker division, and that's what I'm thankful for. I wish the pay could be better, but, it is what it is. Because even Prime, they want 6 months experience now for you to be with their tanker division, which I don't even think is fair. Now, as for the bad, like I said, the pay could be better. It's not very good, and it's not going to get that much better once you're finished with training because it's an entry-level tanker company. It is what it is. Now, another bad thing is, you could be with a trainer with another trainee, so you could be splitting drive time, and I just don't think that's fair, honestly. But you know, it doesn't even benefit you financially to wait for another trainer, because you're only paid $12 an hour during training. And it's like, if you have like bills, you basically have to save up and pay those bills ahead of time before you even come to Schneider to train for the bulk division. And another thing that I didn't like about the training was that because I was with a local TE, it was mostly dropping hooks. Like, we were picking up trailers and we were dropping them off. We were relaying trailers for other drivers. We didn't get the chance to do a live unload while I was with my TE. And that's not even realistic if you're a bulk driver, because most bulk drivers are going to be regional and OTR at Schneider. You're not going to do a drop and hook. Like, this isn't a drop and hook type of job, and I feel like, you know, to not experience that during training and to, you know, experience that, you know, while you're on your own by yourself, I feel like, you know, I just don't think it's right. I wish we would have had the opportunity to do a live unload while I was with my trainer. But luckily, because I'm on the Ecolab account, I was able to train with somebody who does the account for a week, and that's how I was able to get comfortable with doing, you know, live unloads by myself. Now, not everybody has that luxury though, because, you know, the Ecolab account isn't everywhere. It's specific to where you live. Now, so if you're a Schneider tanker driver and you trained with somebody and you didn't get a chance to do a live unload while you were training, let me know your experience down in the comments below. But yeah, so those are the things that I don't like about the training. Now, here's how I feel like everything could be fixed. Now, I feel like Schneider should implement a minimum pay guarantee for the drivers during orientation, something similar to what Prime does. I'm pretty sure Prime has like a $900 minimum pay guarantee, even while you're training. I feel like Schneider should do something like that. In addition, I think that more people should be encouraged to be a TE, because you can be a TE after working there for 9 months. But then again, I get the idea of not, you know, wanting to share your truck with anybody. I understand, because it is a pretty small truck. But yeah, those are my thoughts and feelings about Schneider's tanker training. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments down below. Still like this video, comment on this video, subscribe to my channel. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. I'm Taja Woods, and I'll see you next time.